Hello tubers, this is Robert 20, 1979. It's a little close-up video of this. As you can see, the floor's filthy in here. My whole shop is a disaster. As you see in the previous video, my new project, I've got it in the shop now. You see I got the back tires off of it on both sides. Show you one of the rims here. It's so rotted, it's just, I wouldn't trust it anymore, and I definitely don't trust the other two either, but yeah, this thing's caked on. And what these are a 10 by 16.5 6-hole rim, and I'm having heck finding more rims for this thing. Excuse me. But I'll show you what I've done. Of course, you can see I got the bucket off. I come in here, all the pans, I got to rebuild all this stuff because it's just rotted, like the instrument cluster. Give you a little shot of it there, close up. It's just totally freaking rusted. But coming here cleaning the front of this thing out, down here in the bottom, it literally had that much dust, dirt. I mean, just whatever you could think of was down in there. Oh man, that was just from here to about halfway into that pump. It was about 3.5 gallons of gunk pulled out. And give you a closer clue, that's what I was pulling out of it. So yeah, it's pretty nasty. I put some new grease zerks in some of these pins. This one's kind of stripped out, so the zerk's loose. I might have to tack it on there or something. I love the quick fix that somebody else done on this thing. It cobbled the crap out of that, and if you look closely, you see this blind silver. This was actually part of a PTO adapter or something. I don't know. The other side's so small, it's thin, wore out. That cylinder leaks hydraulic oil, so it's going to be replaced. And I might as well go ahead and replace this one while I'm at it, because they've both been cobbled on pretty bad. I'm not sure about the lift cylinders yet. I don't know what shape they're in, which I will give an update on this. I have started the motor in it, and in my previous video I said it was an Isuzu diesel. That is incorrect, and the year of this thing is incorrect. The tag up here, as you see in my previous video, so I can get it closer, says 38 of 72. Well, that's when this rollover protection was built. This is actually a 1982 model. In 83 or 84, they were coming close to an end, from what I understand. Now, I found some information on the internet, kind of went by it, and then found a number for a implement company up north that actually sold these. And they said toward the first part to the middle part of the 80s, they actually went out of business. So what this actually has, from what I can find out, it is a Kubota motor. It's a it's a V1702 4-cylinder Kubota diesel, which supposedly is a 40 horsepower. Now, when I talked to the implement company up north, they told me the way Erickson did their skid steers, they numbered them, was the horsepower bucket size, and that's the number. So if that's the case, then this is a 4060. So, which they've only got one or maybe two that are bigger than this. So, yeah. But yes, the motor does run. I've actually had it started and run it for a little bit. Didn't run it too long because there's no radiator in it, and the hydraulic system is about completely empty due to busted out hydraulic hoses like that. And, big old leak down there. So, which I don't know if it's the filter or if it's that filter housing that is busted. I'm not sure. If you notice, this panel is open. The whole reason being, I had it jacked up when I started it. Didn't even check to see if it was in engaged in drive or anything, because it didn't look like it was. And this hydraulic motor is actually engaged in the reverse and snapped the front chain, so I've got to fix that still. And I showed you all in the previous video this oil cooler. It's a hydraulic oil cooler. It is seen its last days. I mean, you can see right here it's starting to leak a little bit now. That's since I kind of cleaned it. The radiator is actually just got one hole in it, and that's on the very top where the muffler actually rubbed on it and rubbed a hole in the top of it. So I can get that fixed pretty easy, and then see about doing something different with that muffler there. Excuse me. Been a long weekend. Oh. But yeah, other than that, this motor does have a knock. I ain't gonna lie, it's not a rod knock. It's actually an injector knocking on it. So I guess I'm gonna have to get some injectors, because I'm pretty sure there's some crummy crap in that fuel line, which you can see I've got a fuel line running to a gas can on the floor full of, it's got about a gallon and a half, 2 gallons of diesel in it. Excuse me. And I did it that way because I didn't know what's in these fuel tanks, which I thought was kind of cool on this one. It's got a 5-gallon fuel tank on this side and a 5-gallon fuel tank on this side, hence the rag, which I don't really like, but you know, there's the other nozzle. That's gas cap on. But the great thing about these fuel tanks, you take that bolt out there and the bolt up in front of that line, which you can barely see there, and you take that line loose from the motor, take that wire loose, you take the fuel line loose from the bottom, the petcock out, and this fuel tank drops out from underneath here, which I don't know how good that's picking it up, but I can't see the viewfinder, but that's where the fuel tank sits. You know, they can drop out through the bottom, which I thought was kind of cool. So I'm eventually going to get them dropped out, get them checked over, because they are pretty kind of rusted up a little bit, so I don't know if they're any good or not. This one smells like it's got good diesel. This one smells like it's got water in it, so you know, we'll just have to see what comes out now under the drain plugs there. But so far that's about the progress I've made on this thing. Said I've got all these to take grease. You can see I've been fighting pins on this, I ain't gonna lie to you. This side's been fairly easy. All of them more or less took grease, and great. This one you can see my beat mark inside there with my punch. That one is frozen solid here within this tube, so gross. I'm going to have to get some heat put on that to get it out. Same thing with this one. I'm going to have to get some heat on this tube here. And all this is a leveling arm. It's nothing. All it does is when you raise it up and down, keep your bucket at the same position it was. And I'm going to have to heat them up to get them out. That's the only way. Same thing with this pin on this cylinder. I've tried everything. You see there, I've got the hole out finally. You ended up having to drill the pin out of that one because it was wedged, and took one of my punches, an ATD punch, not this one, there's another one that slipped down in there, stuck it all the way through, came out the bottom, pried that cylinder up, and it sheared off my punch. So she's pretty seized up, which is fine because this, like I said, this cylinder's got to be replaced regardless, which I'll show you as the reason being. It's going to be a little tight pain in the butt here. Oh, it's kind of hard doing that one-handed. Do an easier view for you here. This cylinder, as you can see, just freelessly moves. And you start seeing the oil coming down So the seal is for sure blown in the front, but I'm afraid this one's pitted too bad to save, which I'll show you the back side of it. Yeah, got hijack oil all over me now. Lovely. There we go. Get a close up. The pitting there, it's got some of that further up. So, another good cylinder. Make a bunch of racket. Oh. But yeah, I think while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and replace this cylinder too. Like I said, every pin on this side of this machine was loose. I can get them out, grease them, clean them up, put them back in, and re-grease. But others, like I said, this grease right here will not tighten up, was the whole strip. Not my fault, but it is my problem to deal with. So, but yeah, it looks a little different since the last video. I'm getting tired, guys. I got the bucket over here, got it off. This is either going to need some serious reworking or start from scratch with a new bucket. As you can see, everything's bent, bowed, rotted, destroyed. Let me show you some of the watered holes that were in it. And some of the patchworks they done. It's just, goodness gracious. And then the quality of welding that somebody did on this thing, oh my lord, come on now. I mean, it's just like it's welding. Holy cow. I said this thing is just, it's just totally roached. So I'm gonna have to probably start with a new bucket, because like I said, this right here on this side is gone. And what I found out, this is not an original bucket. This is actually a replacement bucket bought from Bobcat. It's an actual Bobcat bucket. And it's the earlier version of Bobcat, but they didn't have the holes here. They had a single hole in the center for mounting for the quick release. But yeah, they just welded it all to it, and man, this thing's had a rough life, clearly. So yeah, it's just, I may cut everything off here and then start back over with this bucket. I don't know yet, due to the amount of rust flakage coming off here. I mean, I don't know if this is even worth trying to fix this bucket or not. Sounds pretty shallow there. Let me grab if I can find my chipping hammer, since my kids were out here playing. Oh, there it is. Ain't like I don't have 10 of these things laying around here. Might get a little bit noisy, but I'll show you a little difference here. You know, thump test. A little bit difference there in the sound of that metal. It might still be thick enough to still weld back to. Still, yeah, it might be alright. But then the other issue I've got is that big old crack right there in the front of this thing. I gotta re-weld back up. And this part of the bucket here, you can't see because the camera don't pick it up, but it's bowed in. Like concrete, like something fell on it heavy, or they're trying to, oops, sorry about that, trying to pick something up with it. I don't know what the deal was. But I love how they've braced on the inside there on both corners. Kind of cheap and cheesy. And the cutting edge on the front of this bucket, there is one, but it's wore out complete. It's done. So that's all I'm trying to figure out, if it's better to start with a new bucket or just dump some money into this one. I don't know. But if I do, I'll weld that crack up, and I'm going to come in and put 4 braces up underneath the bucket, some strap, and curve it around the back of the bucket to help with the stability and durability of the bucket itself. Then I'll punch holes and put a bolt on cutting edge versus a weld on. I prefer that better than these weld-ons because you can unbolt, you can take the bolts right off, and change them out quicker. You ain't gotta cut them off, grind them off, gouge them off, none of that stuff. So, but man, if I got my work cut out, you know, finding an oil cooler, hydraulic oil cooler, which may be near impossible, may have to have one made, which is fine. That one's probably, I think it's like 14 by 14 or something like that, 14 by 16 total. I'm going to have one made 16 by 16, which will take up the whole space of that containment bracket with 1 inch or 1.25 inch inlet and outlets. So I'm looking at spending some money to have that done. Holy moly. But then I'm going to rewire this thing, replace some hydraulic hoses, replace some cylinders. Basically, kind of go from front to the back, replace what has to be replaced at right now, get it operational, and then worry with fixing other problems as they arise down the road. But if anybody knows where I can get some of these rims, now I'll say again, they are, you see the size of the tire. The tire is a 10-16.5 6 lug. So I just gotta find me some rims for this thing. But you know, there's a radiator. So I'll show you the hole that the muffler rubbed into it is right there. So I can get that fixed up. Which this was made by a Young Radiator Company. I can't hardly read that. Let's see here. Young Radiator Company, Racine, Wisconsin. So there's the serial number on it and everything else, which I might be able to contact, see if they're still in business and see if they've given that serial number. Maybe they might have one in stock or can make one for me or something. Because I'd rather go back with a new one versus trying to patch that big hole. But who knows? I gotta kind of do what the pocketbook allows, which ain't much. So, but anyways, that's where I'm at in this thing, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. I gotta go get my butt in bed. It's already 10:45. So anyways, look for videos coming up to this and other issues, other things like the Cushman and all the other stuff. And if you ain't subscribed, subscribe. Comment if you like, rate my videos, let me know what you guys think. So until the next video, we'll see you later.